Hello! Welcome to the video. Today we are going to talk about my favorite magic systems and why I love them so much. Now the hope for this video is that you might listen to this and get inspired by it. Maybe I'll show you a magic system you've never seen before. Maybe I will talk about a magic system that you've heard tons about but you never saw it in that way. Really, it's just more of a chill, let's sit down and talk about magic systems video. Also, I thought this would be a really good wrap up to my most recent magic system mini-series. This doesn't mean this is the end. I'm not gonna stop talking about magic systems. It's just, I basically said everything I want to say at this moment. So now I'm gonna take a bit of a pause and jump to a new topic, which is actually going to be about first chapters. I am currently working on that script. It is going to be at least 3 videos, might be more, I don't know exactly yet. Depends on how extensive the script is. But if you're interested in that and you want to get notified when that goes up, make sure to hit subscribe and click that bell so that you are notified. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please consider liking the video. Okay, so let's chat. Sorry if this video seems a bit different than my others. I'm not going off a script like I usually do. Usually I script out everything I'm gonna say and I've thought about beforehand. I have thought about these magic systems beforehand and I took some notes. But like I said, we're just chatting today. So I'm using my hands a lot. I'm sorry. Hold them like this. All right, so this is going to be my top 5 magic systems. Starting from probably like my least favorite to the holy grail of magic systems, which is going to be number 5. Number 1 on the list is Harry Potter. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Harry Potter is overdone. It is a child's story. The magic sucks. Why don't they use guns? My husband says that I always assume that you guys are yelling at me. I'm sorry. It's just, it's in my head to believe that you guys are just yelling at me when I say something. And it's okay. It's okay to yell at me because I'll yell back. Okay? It's a mutual yelling relationship. It's fine. This magic system is very special to me. And I feel like probably for a lot of people, at least my age, you know, Harry Potter was a pretty big movie for its time. And it impacted a lot of people's lives at that time. Specifically, why this was special to me was because this was my first encounter to a teachable magic system. Yes, I did watch tons of Disney movies where magic was used a lot. I grew up on them. But Harry Potter was the first movie, because I watched the movies first before I read the books, it was the first movie that I saw a magic system being used in basically a repeatable way, right? Like they had spells that they could say the words and things would happen. And it wasn't just some wizard swooping in for a single frame, fixing everyone's problems, and then leaving, which was most of the Disney movies I watched. I really liked this as a concept. I loved the spells. I loved learning the spells. I would sit down and write out every spell as like I learned them, because back then I didn't have use of internet. It existed. I'm not old. My parents just didn't have it. But I didn't have the internet, so I couldn't Google all the spells at the time. So I was sitting down, I was writing the spells, trying to keep up with them. I was writing down the potion ingredients, and I was pretending to make potions myself out of the ingredients that I learned. And it was just a really cool magic system, at least at that time, for me. And to this day, this is basically why I love any game or story with a potion mechanic to it. I'm sure there was other movies before this, right? This is just specifically special to me because it was my first encounter with it. And not everyone is going to experience this. People might be reading Harry Potter as adults for the first time, or maybe they grew up with it since they were 5 and it's nothing new. Like, that's fine. Okay, so let's actually talk about Harry Potter more in depth though, because in case you don't know about Harry Potter and you don't know how the magic system works, Harry Potter is as basic wizard as you can possibly get. They use wands to cast spells, they fly on brooms, they mix potions in cauldrons, super wizardy stuff. But the thing is that you have to have certain words to use certain spells.
Oculus Reparo.
It's very simple and whimsical magic, but that's where I find the beauty in it. It is so simple that I can teach these spells to my 3-year-old son, and he understands what each spell does. Like, we can play games, and I find that so much fun that I could say Leviosa, and he pretends to float. And he can say Expelliarmus, and I throw my wand out of my hand. These simple rules that it has just makes it really easy for us, the readers, to repeat what it's giving us. I can't think of another magic system that I could teach to my 3-year-old that he would understand. And maybe that in itself makes it a story that you're not interested in because you want something more complex, not something that a 3-year-old can grasp. And I completely understand that. Like, I want deeper magic systems that take time to figure out and learn. But I also like magic systems like this, that are simple and charming, and something that I could sit down for a casual read and just fall in love with, because that's what I did with Harry Potter. If that's a story that you want to tell, you want something that's just casual and fun for people to read, you don't need all this hard magic system stuff. You don't need tons of rules. You just need a few little rules and some repeatable charms, some repeatable potions. And I think people will fall in love with it. Not guaranteed. Harry Potter is special for a lot of different reasons, but this is one of the reasons that I love the magic system. Obviously, there are faults to the magic. Like, why do you need a killing spell when you could just use a gun? Despite its flaws, the magic still leaves me in awe, and I still look upon this book and watch the movies and just absolute giddiness. I love it so much. I love the magic so much. And I will continue to teach my kids new spells as he gets older, okay? That's just that. This book has a huge impact on my life, and this magic system has a huge impact on my life. So it's in the top 5. Okay, number 2, I don't have a book for it. I have a big poster, cause it's Stranger Things, if that's not obvious. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold this the whole chat, but Stranger Things comes in at number 2, if I haven't said that already. So Stranger Things is probably the soft magic I have on this list. So in the world of Stranger Things, it is basically regular Earth, except there's monsters trying to kill people, and there is one girl who randomly has these telekinesis powers. I say randomly because I'm not gonna tell you where she gets them. It is explained in the sorry. It is explained in the show. Despite that, okay? Her power doesn't have hardly any rules whatsoever. The basis of her power is stretch out your hand and scream, and then things happen. Very soft magic. There's no rules, right? And she can literally do anything. She can tap into people's minds. She can see into this alternate dimension. She can erase things from existence. But why is it one of my favorite magic systems? Her power is so overdone. Like, we see this in so many different movies and shows and books, but I love it. Here's why. Number 1, I just love telekinesis powers. So obviously this is gonna be one of my favorite magic systems just because I like that kind of magic system. You may not, but that's a given, all right? Number 1, I love that type of magic. But number 2, why Stranger Things specifically? Why is this the one I put on my list and not like Star Wars or something? This is a bit about how the story itself uses the magic. So 11 is the girl who has these abilities, and she is this small, young girl. I think she's like 10 years old in the first show. She's thin and frail looking, but when it comes to her friends getting hurt, she's out there like flipping buses, and it's awesome to watch. It is so satisfying every single time she uses her powers because it's always this epic scene of her doing something amazing. It's kind of weird that the show did this because usually when you have the telekinesis powers, what I would usually see in movies and shows is that 1, a villain would have it and be overpowered, or 2, the hero would have this power and really struggle with it. Like, it would take them a long time to master it. And this is understandable because as writers, we need to have our hero grow and not just be overpowered from the start. But not every story needs to work that way. And this is what surprised me with this story, is that 11 comes in here overpowered. She is flipping buses. She's making kids float. She's making people disappear. And I love it. I love every minute of it. This was the first time that I got to see a main character using telekinesis in this overpowered way. And it just leaves me in so much awe. And if you watch my soft magic system video, that's what soft magic is supposed to do. It's supposed to just leave you in wonder and awe. And I think Stranger Things really understands that. They understand how to leave you in awe with the magic system while also telling this really great story in the middle of it. It's a unique take on something that I already love. All right, number 3. My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is a manga and an anime based in this modern world where everyone, well, almost everyone, is born with a quirk. Now, a quirk is this genetic mutation that allows them to have these superhuman abilities. Basically, if you've watched X-Men, they're like mutants. Because of this world where people are born with quirks, there's this whole hero association who dedicate their time to teaching kids how to become superheroes. Now, not everyone becomes a superhero. There are the normal civilians. But we, of course, follow the character who does want to become a superhero. But of course, there are others who become super villains, which hence this is what the whole story is about. Superheroes against supervillains. Now, I love this magic system because all of their powers are they're so specific, all right? So like if you look at the mutants from X-Men, they have like very superhero powers, right? Like you have someone who can teleport, you have someone who can phase through objects, you have people who have claws in their fist, you know, that helps you pretty well with fighting, right? This story doesn't look at it that way. This story gives people these random quirks and says, go try to be a hero with it. There's one girl who's born with this quirk that can make people float if she touches them. And that's it. And she has to learn how to use that in situations to be a hero. She can't fly, she can just float. There's also this other character who has like grape balls for hair and he can pull them off and stick them to people. It's very weird. And then there's this other guy who just has a tail. Like that's literally his only power. He has a tail. I'm pretty sure he's like the most skilled out of all of these heroes because I don't even know how he became a superhero with that as his quirk. The purpose of these weird quirks is that in order to be great, these heroes have to figure out how to use their powers in unique ways. And it's really cool and it's really interesting. For example, our main hero, Midoriya, has this basically like a super punch ability. No, it's not actually a super punch, but let's just, for simplicity's sake, let's call it that. But he doesn't have super strength. So if he uses his super punch, he basically breaks all the bones in his body. So now our hero, who has this strong consequence to using his power, has to figure out how to use his power to help people. First thing he does is trigger it into one finger so that he's only breaking one finger, but still has that super impact. Another way is that he kicks the air, sending a gust of wind at his enemies. I love it when people use these limiting abilities so that we have to watch them progress and figure out how to use them. I feel like I've said that a lot. But I really like that about this show. I think this one does it really well because it's not just that you're giving them a limited magic, but they're also trying to be superheroes with that magic. I just think it's really cool. It's really fun. And then they have to like build things to go on their suits to help them control their magic. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't watched this, it's a really good anime and it's still coming out. So lots of seasons. This is such a good story. I love it so much. I love this story. Number 4 is the beloved Mistborn. I've talked about this story a lot. Fantastic book. I think this is the only one on my list that is just a book and not a movie. So I feel like this is one that you guys might not be familiar with, at least as much as everything else. This is set in a, I don't know if I'm holding this right. Everything could be cut off. I'm sorry if it is. Can you see it now? This story is set in an industrial fantasy world where if you're born with an ability, you can eat a certain metal and then burn that to then use that ability. So let me explain. If you were born a tin eye, which is a type of person in this world, You can consume tin, which, by the way, I know that sounds like they're just like biting off metal. That's what I thought at first. They actually shave off pieces of the metal into water and dissolve it and then drink it. So, just to clarify, it's what they do. So you're not picturing them like eating a bar of gold. Anyway, so if you are born a tin eye, you will consume tin and then burn that tin in order to have better vision. That's what a tin eye can do. Once you've burned up all of that metal, it then leaves your body, and then you no longer have tin in your system and you can't use your ability anymore until you consume tin again. You can also flare your ability, which means that you use all of that metal at once, and it gives you this increased power, but then it's gone. You just have it that one time and boom, it's out of your body. Don't have any more power until you consume more. If you're a coin shot, you consume steel in order to push metal. So each person has a different ability and a different metal they need to consume. Unless you're a Mistborn, and then you can consume all metals and have all of the abilities. What's even more interesting is that each ability is basically based off the team members of a heist. So you have like the tin eyes who can see really good. You have the coin shots, which are like your attack people. They're like the sharpshooters. You have the, I don't remember what they're called, but there's another group. There's another person who can affect your emotions. So yeah, like it makes the perfect heist group, which is actually great for the story because that's kind of what the story is. It's a heist story told in an industrial world with superheroes, basically. So the metals themselves work as a cost. If you don't have metals, you don't have powers. Not only do you have these specific costs, but also the abilities themselves are pretty limiting. Like even our Mistborn, who's our main character who has all the abilities, can't like go off and start flying somewhere. She doesn't have like laser vision. She has very specific set powers that she has to work around. And because of that, we see her using them in really cool ways. She pushes and pulls on metal to maneuver around the city. She pushes on coins to shoot them like bullets. You know, there's a lot of fun things that happen in this book just using the magic system in really unique ways. The same as my hero. Like, I just love magic systems that take something so limiting and progress that. They take it as far as they possibly can in those limits. I think that's a lot of fun, and that's what's really fun about Mistborn in itself. Also, the magic in this world has such an impact on the culture, on the military, on how the world works and nobility works. Like, people don't wear metal in this world because if you do, you're making yourself vulnerable to Mistborns. So instead, people wear fake metals. They wear wood painted like metal to look fancy. The military only uses like plastic swords or obsidian swords, which is something that the Mistborns can't control. And allomancy, which is the magic system I've been talking about, is only one of the magic systems. There's actually 2 other magic systems that are discussed in the other books that also tie into all those metals. And I think it's really cool. This was really unique when I read it because I never read anything so weird as someone eats metal and has abilities, you know? And then like after I read it, I was like, why did I not think of something weird like this? Because it's okay to get weird with your magic. It's okay to be different, do something different, because people end up really liking that because they want to see something different. All right, number 5, and to nobody's surprise, is Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is my favorite magic system by far. Now, obviously, I'm holding the comic book. This isn't the movie, just to clarify. But it's a good prop to have, okay? Unlike some of the others in this list, this magic system has no connection to nostalgia or childhood. I didn't watch Avatar: The Last Airbender until I was like 17, I believe. I was definitely late to the Avatar experience. Thank goodness for my husband who introduced it to me. I wasn't married at 17, let me clarify. He was my boyfriend at the time, but now he's my husband. Yeah. I realized that wasn't very clear. If you don't know what this show is, it is an animated series that first aired on Nickelodeon in 2005. Since then, there has been a movie made about it. Netflix released a live action series of it this year. Are either of those worth watching? No, they're not. I'm sorry. It's just facts. If you're gonna watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, you watch the animated series. Like, hands down, this is it. This is the best version you can get. Yes, It was made for kids, but holy crap, is it good? And is it worth it? This magic system is set in its own world, and in this world, people are born with bending abilities. Bending is their term for being able to move certain elements. You have earth, fire, air, and water. And people can only be born to bend one of these elements, not multiple. Unless you're the Avatar, he can bend all four. But I'm just going to talk about the general bending of the story. If this sounds familiar, it's because it is. This type of elemental magic is not unique, and in fact, it was around way before Avatar: The Last Airbender used it. But the way Avatar uses this magic system is so incredible, which is why today this is hands down the best elemental magic I have seen. First of all, the magic system affects every part of this world. All the nations are divided according to their elements, and each one has advanced differently because of it. The Fire Nation has advanced in steamships and airships, things that are easy for them to fuel because of their bending. The Earth Kingdom is great at land transportation, creating complex delivery systems. The Water Tribe has more Arctic culture, creating their villages out of ice and water. The Air Nomads live in temples high above everything and uses gliders to maneuver around their area. And then there's the magic itself. In order to bend correctly, you have to use the right movements with your body. Each element is based off a different martial arts style, and these styles reflect how their culture lives and acts. Firebending is based off a type of Kung Fu, which is a more powerful style, using powerful punches and kicks. It looks a bit more aggressive, and most of the Fire Nation has this aggressive personality. Waterbending is based off Tai Chi, which is less about strength and more about balance, which you can see as the waterbenders are swirling these large masses of water around them and holding their stance. Airbending is based off a martial art that is about circular movements, which mimics the aspects of wind. Earthbending is based off a Kung Fu style specifically about its strong stances and rooting to the ground. Obviously, there's more connections here. I'm just listing off some basics. If you do some research into this, like, you can tell the people who animated and wrote this story really took time to like study some martial arts styles and figure out which one connects to who and why, and I love that part about it. Another thing that I love, which I've already mentioned with my hero in Mistborn, is that it takes this limiting magic system and uses it in very expansive and unique ways. A waterbender only has control over water, but they can also control the water in plants, moving things like vines and moss. Earthbenders can bend the earth found in metal. Firebenders can redirect lightning. And I'm not even getting into everything that happens in this show because there's too much. There's too much to unpack to you. But there is beauty in the simpleness. You know, Avatar: The Last Airbender, they just have control over 4 elements. 4 common elements that we have seen stories use several times. But they took that and they expanded on it and they put it in their world in every way that they could think. And it just comes across as such a good story and a good magic system when you see it develop the world and you see it develop the cultures and the personalities and the lifestyles, the clothing they wear. Everything that you see in this world is affected by the bending. If you're going to create a great magic system, you should really think about the history of it, how it affects people, how it affects cultures. And I talked about that, like, Mistborn does this, that the world has changed because of this metal power. I still don't think they do it as well as Avatar, though. And that's just crazy, because I haven't found a story that does it as well as Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I hope that one day I can create a magic system as good as it is. Like, this is what I strive to be. Alright, there you have it. Those are my 5 favorite magic systems. I do want to say I totally stole this idea from Merphy Napier. I really hope she doesn't mind. I will link her channel down below if you want to check her out. She does tons of like booktube stuff. She talks about manga and magic systems and tropes. And she has her own series that is about her favorite magic systems. And this was something that I watched several times when I was coming up with my own magic systems. Because I just love seeing people talk about what they love about magic systems. You know, even though some of the magic systems that she talked about was something I've already read, she brought them to light in a different way. And that's what I hope to do for you guys through this I want to create more of that content for you guys to watch. I want you to go watch her and watch this and just get totally inspired to build crazy magic systems that outdo Avatar: The Last Airbender one day. And then you're gonna show me that book because I want cool magic systems like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Hopefully over time, after reading a lot more books and watching more shows, I can redo this video and see how my ideas have changed, how my preferences have changed. I can't wait till that comes because I think that'd be really fun to compare these two videos like from a year from now. Hello, Future Moon here. I realize it has taken me so long to edit this video and I needed to make a new outro because these guys, my new Patreons. Thank you guys so much. Like, I'm speechless. You guys are amazing. I mean, just look at you. Look at you. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for just supporting the channel. Like, yeah, it's awesome. To the rest of you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit like if you liked the video and hit subscribe if you haven't done it already. And that's all I got to say. So I will hopefully see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.